Hi, this is Phillip at Chateau Avensac, and today we're going to look at the ancient courtyard. Right now, I am on the little bridge that goes over the moat. Let's take a look. Here's the little bridge that I was standing on. The moat is mostly to the right. The left side of the moat is actually dry. And we're staring at really the oldest part of the chateau. This tower gate is part of the original 14th century chateau built in 1320. The wall to the right, that wall is probably also part of the original chateau. And also the bridge. Although originally the bridge was maybe a drawbridge and this bridge was built at a later time. Just to give you some orientation, this is just to the side of the main entrance gate that we use today for going into the chateau. And also, so you can kind of see this part of the moat, which is obviously does not have water in it anymore. But this is the bridge that crosses over the moat that I was standing on when I did the little introduction. And if we just pop through this little tunnel, you can see the moat, which the part that does still have some water in it, it doesn't have much. And that's one day a project that we'd love to come back to and try and restore the moat and bring up the water level. It was raining today, and I can hear, let's see if we can get it. I can hear water falling from a drain spout. This is actually how the moat was originally fed, and there's the drain spout, so the water runoff from the roof would feed into the moat. However, it wasn't just the roofs of the chateau that fed the moat. Just down here, you can see this opening in the wall. And this was a small aqueduct. It runs under the road, and there was a drain in the village, and it's basically all the water that drained into the village would come down through into this aqueduct to help feed the moat. So at one time, there was a lot more water that was flowing into here. That drain, when they paved the roads or did work on the roads, at some point that drain was removed. So that was just to help give you some orientation. I'll specify on the other side of the entrance there's another gate, this gate here, and this is the gate into the park from the top, from the top side of the park. And this kind of, you can see, take a quick look through, that is the beginning of the mid-terrace, and to the right, sloping down, is the top of the park. Here we are, I'm approaching the entrance doors of the tower gate, so we can check out what's inside. And apparently, I can't check out what's inside. All right, I'll have to go around the other way. I'll come back. And as we walk in through the main gates, we come into the ancient courtyard. Whew. And here I am standing below the tower, and you can see there's a lovely ladder that takes you up into the room above. It's a long, steep, and slightly treacherous ladder. You'll note that on the sides here, you see these little holes. I believe they're called, in English, they're murder holes. There's also one on either side of the gate in the front. And you can also see on the other side of the gate, there's one on the wall to the side. There's now a building there. Obviously, at one point, that building wasn't there. It was probably built in the 19th century next to the tower. But you can see that the murder hole for going to the side was there. So this is a way they could shoot muskets at the invaders coming in to the tower. And just want to point out, here we are on trying to work my way back so you can get the whole archway of the tower. So we basically have two buildings on either side of the tower, one to the right and one to the left. The right one, I think that's where we're going to go next. This was, I don't know what the ground floor was used for. It's basically a fairly open space with these posts in it. You can see that we're currently storing a bunch of wood in here. And there is a cat in here that is meowing. So it's just a big open space that had windows and doors out into the ancient courtyard. Okay. This ground was covered completely with just dirt, and when we got it brushed away, we found that the cobblestones are under here, which is really kind of amazing. Depending on what we end up using this space for, the cobblestones may stay or not. It just depends. We haven't quite decided yet what we're going to be doing with this space. No kidding. I pointed out in the video on the bedrooms that there was tile floors and then there was sand under the floor. And I just want to point out, from just the one bedroom, I think at least 4 of these sacks, huge sacks, are filled with sand that came from that bedroom. And there was more, because there's some sand and some smaller sacks as well. So it's kind of amazing how much weight and how much sand was in that room. You can see here all the windows are gone from this room. And what we're going to do is go, well, I thought we were going to go up these stairs to check out the upper floor. But apparently our debris chute is now living there. So we're going to go around to the other side. There's actually another staircase, and you'll be happy to know it's a treacherous staircase as well, but it is navigable. And right to the side here of the main gate, there's a door. I actually kind of love this staircase. Here we go. It's just kind of a fun little staircase. You can see where there's a little treacherousness to it. And in this space, there's also a door to my right that goes to where the room I was just in. Let's see. You can see where the wood's being stored. So this wood was stacked up here. That's covering this doorway. All right, so I'm going to carefully ascend. Oh, okay. Ruby is gonna guide us through this space, but she's going the wrong way. Because we're gonna start by looking out the window here. This window is looking out over the front, so we're right next to the tower. Oops, see if we can, oh, window is also very dirty. There we go. So, just to kind of give you an idea where we are, that's the gate that goes down into the park, and we're right next to the tower here. This upper portion of this building, oh, this is going to be fun. Try and close the window with one hand when it's windy. Okay, this upper portion of this building was definitely used for servants' quarters. So I'm not sure what the lower portion was used for, but the upper portion is definitely servants' quarters. And originally, it didn't have the staircase at the other end, which we're now looking at the top of. It was just a long hallway that went straight down with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms. They're just all off the hallway, and that was it. And where I just came up these stairs, this wall in front of me is the side of the tower. There is a room above the entrance in the tower gate. There's a room above, and I have a kind of a fantasy that maybe it's possible to break through the wall and add like a staircase from where I'm standing now to go up into this wall and into that room. It's really kind of a sweet little room up there that looks directly over the front entrance of the castle. So if we go into this first room, you can see these rooms are not in the best of condition. This room is the only room up here that had a fireplace. So this was probably, I don't know if this was maybe a little sitting room for the servants, or if this was just for a servant who, maybe had some more privileges and they had a fire. The rest of them, they got cold in the winter. There are some fragments of pottery that were in this room. They're sitting here for now. Then, so we back out. We'll check out the next room. This room has a little interesting thing going on in it. You can see it's a very small room. These rooms would have been big enough for really just probably a twin bed and a dresser and maybe some kind of a wash basin. And that's really about it. And it was really a series of these rather small rooms for the servants. This wallpaper, we know, dates to the 19th century, and we know that because someone that was visiting the chateau left their mark on the wall. They wrote in pencil a little message. They were here for a few months in 1865. And they were remarking about their lovely stay here and how much they enjoyed being here. I said 65, I think it was 1862. So this is an interesting thing for us. Obviously, I want to try and preserve this and somehow, but obviously eventually this will get remodeled. So I'm not quite sure how we'll do it. We might have to just cut this section of the wall out or some way to preserve this part of its history, which is really a great little thing. Maybe they didn't enjoy that someone wrote on the walls at the time, but it's great now for us to have that inscription there. And the previous owner pointed that out to us when we bought the house, and I really appreciate that so that we know it's there. We might have just not have noticed it and overlooked it completely. And here we come to the next set of rooms. So these are 3 doorways coming down here on the right. At some point, the staircase was put in to create easier access, so it was straight up. And in the process, they've cut off the access to the other rooms. So what they did is they just took out the walls in between the rooms. It kind of creates a sort of an interesting set of spaces, because in each room you can kind of see there was a different wallpaper. So here's the wallpaper in the sort of the first room that I entered, and then there would have been a wall here as I cross over into the wallpaper of the next room, and then further over would have been another wall. And this room right now has no wallpaper. There might have been paper in this room at one point. I'm not really sure. And as you can see, there are just sort of some remnants of things that have been stored up here that obviously we haven't really touched yet. And these windows, all the windows in this part of the structure in the servants' quarters are looking over what we refer to as the ancient courtyard. And it's between the ancient part of the chateau that we walk through, the tower gate, which is on the right, and this is the west wing of the current chateau on the left. And then straight through that gate goes, that wraps around to the back terrace. Let's wind our way back through. Okay. Whew. And we come back now, back down into the ancient courtyard. So this is the west wing of the house, right here. That gate goes back to the back terrace. And if I just come around, this is the tower gate. Now this building on the left side it was always been referred to as the chapel, and so we believe it was a chapel for the old chateau. But this side of it, so the walls on this side of the building, are probably 19th century. This is the old chapel, and you can see immediately why you can refer to this as the chapel, with the great arched window. Now this wall we're looking at, this is the wall directly opposite where I just walked in, is part of the 14th century chateau. And the rest of the structure, as I mentioned, was really built behind this wall, probably in the 19th century. So I don't know that the whole chapel structure is original to the old chateau. And they took this space, and as you can see, it became a stable. And this, obviously, this is a stable. And we have some ideas for this space. To make it into a small house, like a vacation rental. And we kind of got a plan together, just a sketch of making it like a vacation rental with like kind of 2 loft bedrooms. So on each side is a small room like this one with the windows. And one side could be a kitchen, the other side a bathroom and laundry space and things like that. And then the central part, the vaulted open central part, would be a living space with bedrooms above the 2 ends. So that's our sort of sketched out plan. This is clearly a project for the future. I'm just gonna come through here. We can kind of see where I was. That's the door I just came through there. And what's nice about it is all these spaces, that door in front of it, the closed door, that door goes out into the ancient courtyard. So I walked through basically the same door, but on the other end of the building. This is one of the features I think is really great, right here. There's an old stone trough. It's carved out of one piece of stone. I think that's really great. And there's one in the other outbuilding that's off the ancient courtyard as well. And another interesting architectural feature is the floor. These are Moat tiles, which you find everywhere in the house, but instead of being laid flat, they're laid on edge. If we take a little bit more of a look, you can kind of see that. They're all the edges of the tiles. And what's interesting is we had a historic architect here, and she said this building technique was done in the Middle Ages. So, you know, you immediately thought like maybe the floor was part of the old chapel. But then the next thing she said, and they continued to use it until the 19th century. So it's very possible that this is new, as in early 19th century, new. It's kind of fun. But it's kind of amazing to think that there is this building technique that persisted for, you know, maybe 1,000 years that really hadn't changed. It really was an enduring technique for building. This space, I'm gonna just pan up. You can see is the ceiling is open. There was once a ceiling here, but it's now all open. And so the idea is that this would be the main living space, and then that space above the side could be like a loft bedroom. This room also has a door onto the courtyard as well, onto the ancient courtyard, as we can see right here. So, you know, you can just imagine this, maybe some glass doors just opening up, lots of light flooding into this lovely open space with these great stone walls. And these are the kind of stone walls that we would preserve by using joining, like we've done in other parts of the house where we're preserving the walls. And just make a really lovely French country rustic kind of space out of this outbuilding. Opposite me, so I just walked out of the old chapel, which is now the stable, and directly across in the ancient courtyard is the back side of the orangery. The front side of the orangery is on the main courtyard in front of the house. So just to kind of orient you a little bit, we're kind of on the side of the house, and the structure over here, that is the side of the west wing, which is actually the part of the house that we're currently occupying. And if we just go here, you see there's a little path with the main house to the side. And through this little gate, this wall separates just the side from really the back terrace. So we come through here, and just around the corner to the left is basically the back terrace. And let's just go around pop around the corner and we'll pop over. You can see the mid-terrace is down and to the right, and then the park is below that. There you go. And then just as I come around the corner, this is the mid-terrace. Right now it's a big giant dust bowl. We actually just rototilled the whole back terrace to loosen up the soil, and then started raking it to level it out. So needs a little bit more work. Eventually we're going to put limestone gravel down back here and then plant some pots. And these are the 5 trees that we planted on the terrace to help provide shade in the morning light. And I just want to note on the left here, this door is actually going into the bedroom in the end of the west wing, which is actually my bedroom with Mark. And I think maybe we'll pop inside, and I have a very special interview that I'm going to conduct there. Hi, I am now inside the house in what we call the west wing, and we are actually in our bedroom. And I have here with me someone that's been reluctant to be on our videos. And then this, of course, is my husband, Mark.
Hi, everybody.
Well, let's start with, why have you been reluctant to be in the videos?
I am reluctant, hesitant, because of the current medical situation, which you can all see. I am bound to a hospital bed. A year ago, almost a year ago in May, I was having problems with my left leg. It was numb, and we went through a number of medical doctors here in France and ended up finding a tumor inside of my spinal column. And May 3rd of last year, I went in for what was supposed to be not a horrible surgery. In the hospital a few days, back home, a little recovery time, and
I mean, it's a big surgery.
Yeah,
it was on your spine.
Back on the road again, and
right.
and back to work doing the
we thought it'd be a week in the hospital. Well, the doctor said it'd be a week. You thought it would just be a couple of days. And then some recovery, and life, we go back to life as normal.
And when I woke up from the surgery, I was paralyzed from here all the way down. And of course, panic set in. It turns out that it was swelling inside of my spinal column after the removal of the tumor, and it compressed all of the nerves. And the swelling has slowly gone down, and I am able to move to a point again, and every day a little tiny bit more.
I think that's key. The neurosurgeon said afterwards, and he was surprised by this. This was not an expected outcome at all. But he said it will get better, but it was going to take a lot of time, and it would happen in very small steps. Like, it's not going to just be like one big day, everything goes back to normal.
My right leg is moving again. My left leg is our problem. It moves some, but I still cannot stand unassisted. There's no sign of being able to walk yet, but little by little, we are getting there. And I had to take a deep breath after a lot of crying and a lot of sadness, and know that our goal just had to be pushed back, and that it's okay to do that.
Our goal on the house.
The goal on the house.
Because I just want to point out, because our intention when we bought the chateau and we started planning the renovation, our intention was that we would be doing a lot of the work ourselves. Not all, but a lot of work ourselves. And this has made that a little challenging.
So we've hired crews to help us start the move forward, and look forward to that day when I can actually get back on my feet and get to work. But consequently, I'm a little shy. I've always been camera shy, and then you add this on top of it, and I just sort of melted down at the idea of video. And that is actually where Judy came from.
And you might know that there's a small resemblance to Judy, because it turns out Judy and Mark are distantly related. So how did Judy come about?
So we have artwork by Gary Toasty that Gary created for us, and we wanted to do sort of a commercial within our videos. And both of us remember from when we were kids the commercials for Time Life Books, and Judy from Time Life Books, or Penny from Time Life Books. So we decided to do a riff on it, and there was this question running around, who's going to be the Judy person? At first it was maybe going to be Susie, then maybe it was going to be Phillip, and I finally said, okay, fine, I will do it. So it was supposed to be just a one-off, in and out, done. And Judy got so much attention that we made the decision, like the Carol Burnett show, to invite her to be a regular on the show.
She's like a guest you invite and doesn't leave.
Now Judy gets in trouble with some people.
She's not to everyone's taste.
But you should meet her sister, Ermeline. That's where Judy came from. It was a way for me to become part of the videos and feel a little more comfortable, because it wasn't me. It was somebody else. So it wasn't the person in the wheelchair. And that's who I am right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
And we also, we had talked about maybe doing some videos as I do tours of the house. I have not done a tour of this part of the house. We're in what we call the West Wing, and that was because you didn't want to have to see this part where the hospital bed and some of the equipment that we have in place for your recovery.
But I do still work every single day on this project. It's just not sanding and plastering and painting
The
and
physical
doing
stuff.
floors.
So what are the things you are? What exactly is it that you do?
Well, I start my day at 9 a.m. with my first physical therapist, and we are here for 3 hours, 7 days a week, every morning. And then Monday through Friday, we get in the car and go to a second physical therapist. We get home about 2:15. We have some lunch, and then it's time to go to work. And what I do is all of the planning, all of the floor plans, all of the technical drawings, electrical drawings, plumbing, radiator lines. I do
Some of the furniture design,
and then
cabinets that are going to be put in.
And then I spend hours and hours editing these videos using Premiere Pro, which I had never used prior to starting these videos.
New experience.
New experience. So my life is this little guy right here,
Yes.
and this little bed, and this person here. That's my life.
No, that's not a bad life.
That's not a bad life. No. Except I can't walk.
Well, that part is unpleasant. Okay. Well, I feel like there's something I forgot. Is there something you're supposed to say to our viewers?
Oh, yes. Judy always does it, but this time I get to do it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching the videos. We really appreciate it. And as always, we appreciate the comments. And actually, one of the jobs that Mark does as well is he reviews every single comment we get. Once in a while, this comment kind of gets lost in the mix, but we do go through them all. And Mark responds to all the comments, sometimes with my input, sometimes in spite of my input. and so we actually do appreciate it, whether it's just the love, which is wonderful, thank you, and or just suggestions or even criticisms. We really do appreciate. So please feel free to continue commenting. And a special thanks to our patrons whose contributions go directly towards the renovation of the chateau. And Absolutely, thank you to everyone, our viewers that are watching. We really appreciate it, and thank you for being a part of that journey with us.
Oh, hi, it's Judy from Chateau Avensac. So there's a lot of interviews being done with the people that work in the chateau. And there's a rumor going around that Mark has agreed to be on camera. And I thought, well, who better to do that interview than yours truly? Oh, excuse me a moment. It's from HR. I've been fired. Apparently there were some complaints in the YouTube comments, and, well, I've lost my job. I guess I better get my resume together and update my Facebook page, and, this is Judy, not from Chateau Avensac. You have a great day. Not for me.
Second take of all right, I'm not getting any. Now I have to walk around again. Well, this is the second time I am doing this.